My name is Jared Mello, and this is another episode of Mello Mentoring. Thank you to everyone who's been liking, commenting, subscribing, etc. Very, very, very grateful to have your support and for you to spending the time to actually watch what I create. Very cool. Keep an eye out for my book, Radical Self-Respect, also on Amazon now, and we'll have the audiobook out shortly. The book is great for people that have been struggling with codependency, relationships, have just had a breakup, people pleasers, people with weak boundaries, etc., or anyone who suffered from abuse or trauma. Great for you. Again, Radical Self-Respect. Now, today's video is going to be about, are there too many helpers/influencers and not enough doers? And when I look around, I see Instagram, I see YouTube, I see Facebook. There's all these people that want to be influencers, want to be coaches, want to help others, and even the people that, in some cases, are helping with addiction stuff. Although I feel like that might be the most noble, and the people also helping with like emotional and physical abuse, sexual abuse type stuff. Those two may be the most noble, but the other kinds of influencers, it's like there needs to be more doers. And what I mean by doers is, in society, there are actual skills that get monetized and like society needs them to go on. Examples of the skills that I'm talking about. Things like accountants, things like nurses, things like skilled labor jobs, plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters, carpenters, construction workers. All of these things are needed. Doctors, lawyers, people that work for insurance companies, the people that work for mortgage companies, real estate people. All of these things are just needed positions. Now, influencers can be amazing. The helping people can be amazing. Tony Robbins has taught me a lot, for example. People along his guild, Brandon Bouchard. Yeah, I need them. But there's also people that maybe they're mediocre influencers, and it's like, maybe that person would be better off doing something that more people actually really needed. And I think so many people get turned off to working for someone else, being a part of someone else's goals, etc. And it's like, maybe you would actually be more valuable if you did those things. Like, we do need nurses. We do need actual teachers in the grade schools, in the high schools, in the colleges. And like, not everyone should be an entrepreneur. And yeah, an entrepreneur may create a product, may create some sort of digital learning thing and reprocess information, reorganize it, and then sell it. And they can make a fortune doing that. But it's like, do they really help the world that much? Or do they just help themselves? And I think that's a big difference that people need to really notice. And I'm not just speaking at people with this, I'm talking to myself with this too. I'm on the precipice right now where I'm trying to decide, it's like, will I continue doing YouTube stuff? Which I still do because it's a hobby of mine, I like it. And I have my book, and I'll do coaching for people that, when they need it, or if they want to ask me, sure, I'm here for them. But it's like, am I missing out on something else that I should be doing? So what I mean, if money wasn't an option for me, I'd love to be a clinical psychologist or a licensed professional counselor or a licensed clinical social worker, etc. Or maybe get into the political sphere as well. And actually, they're doers. Part of this is also the Teddy Roosevelt quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or how the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face has been marred by blood and by dust and by sweat, who knows great errors, knows great triumphs, and he's actually in the arena doing things." Politicians can be considered that to an extent because they are actually making the legislation and deciding where big sums of money go. Yes, very important. But there's all different kinds of doers. And I think this influencer type thing that's going on, I mean, there might be too many people that want to be leaders and not enough people that want to be followers. And I know it's something that a lot of people don't want to hear, but when there's too many leader Indians, things go poorly. And I think one of the reasons that might be is it takes some humility to really know what you're best suited for and what your best role is. And for some people, if being a follower is your best role, it takes some humility to recognize that. And I think a lot of people just don't have that kind of humility. And another thing I think they might forget is all great leaders were first great followers. There's nothing wrong with being a great follower first. I think there's a lot of people that equate being a follower with something along the lines of being a sheep and not thinking. And there's a slight amount of truth in that. We should always remain thinking and challenging to the people above us and ask ourselves, do we actually agree morally with what this leader is doing? Because there is truth in the statement that when everyone thinks the same, no one is thinking at all. I agree with that too, but I think the follower has gotten a bad rap recently and has been put in that sheep category. Instead, we have all of these people that want to be leaders and brand of me people. This is the big thing I think social media has done. So whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, there's all of these people that have a brand of me. They all want to be their little leader. And frankly, there's not enough people in the world for everyone to be a leader. Now, people can be a leader in their own lives, absolutely. But the leader of other people, that's a little bit different. And perhaps I'm calling on people to practice a little humility, to try to understand that maybe you aren't supposed to be leading other people. Maybe you are supposed to be doing some sort of skill and giving back to society in a way that actually helps the world go round. Because there's jobs that a lot of people really frown upon, but our society would not be able to continue without these jobs. What kind of jobs am I talking about? I already mentioned a few of them, but to mention a few more: the grocery clerk people, the pharmacist people, the doctors, the lawyers, the nurses, the accountants, the pipe fitters, the plumbers, the electricians, the welders, the construction folks. Like, these are the things that helps the world go round. And I think there's a lot of influencers out there, and coaches fall into this category too in some cases, where they're not helping the world go around that much. They're really just not. Like, they're trying to help, but maybe they're missing out on something they really should be doing. Because the fact of the matter is, the majority of coaches fail. Why? For the reason I've been saying. Not everyone is meant to be a leader. Not everyone is meant to just do their own thing. A lot of people are actually meant to contribute to society in another way. In a way that's a little more practical and a little more functional. And it takes a lot of humility to really recognize that. And this is why a lot of the coaches that actually do well, what do? They coach other coaches. They're selling, like, who got rich during the California gold rush? The people selling the shovels and the people running the saloons and the hotels and the areas that the gold was being mined in. They're the ones that got rich. I equate the coaches who coach coaches to the people who sold the shovels during the California gold rush. They are taking advantage of a vulnerable population, coaches who are trying to get more clients. And guess what? That's every coach's problem. More clients, more clients, more clients. And I think part of the issue is there's just not enough people that are willing to get coaching. There's not enough people that are willing to invest in themselves in that way. But if you go become an LPC or an LCSW or a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, now because insurance takes those things, maybe some people are actually more willing to follow them. But the coaches, it is also still the wild, wild west. And in my heart of hearts, there's only certain things I would recommend people go to coaches for. Mindset stuff, dating stuff, and routine perhaps, but that's really about it. Like, there's not going to be so many other things that I would actually recommend a coach for. So these are just some of my thoughts and my ramblings here, and I'd like to see people contribute to society in necessary ways. And perhaps to take a step back for a second and think, Am I really serving the world the best I can, trying to be an influencer? Maybe there's a way that we could be better serving and better able to help more people. And again, it takes a lot of humility to really answer these questions honestly, but I think they are very important questions, especially in this era of the brand of me. So let me know what you think about this video, whether you agree, disagree, etc. I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts. So with that, have a good one.